Okay, so today we're going to talk about FamilySearch and some of its functions and how to use it in your family history research. We're going to go over some of the best ways to use your family tree, and as well as indexing and the activities in the temple work that you can do through FamilySearch. So to begin, let's overview the home page. When you first log in, it'll bring you to a page that looks just like this. On the top here, top left here, you'll have a banner, usually of the new activities that FamilySearch has to do, or some interactive things that you can look at to spark your interest and learn more about your ancestors. Below that is basically a feed of what other users have been contributing to people on your family tree. This includes pictures, stories, documents, anything like that. So that can be fun to look at if you want to see what people have been doing on your family tree. On the right here, you have recommended tasks. You can view them all together, or you can separate them by records and temple. Records will take the people who are in your family tree and it will search the records that FamilySearch has, and it will tell you if they think they've found a match. And if you click the little blue icon, you can see what that record is. This person has several that you can go through and review and attach. There's also the temple, where you can see which of your ancestors have temple work to be completed if you are LDS. You can also see recent people. These are the people that you have most recently viewed their profiles for. So if you log out of FamilySearch and you want to go back to where you were working before, this is a great place to start. You can do a to-do list. You can add an item. And then you can either remove it or click it when it's done. You can show recently completed items. And down here at the very end is articles and interactive things that you might be interested in. Now let's go to the actual tree. Okay, so let's go over some of the tree views that are available on FamilySearch. And let's begin with landscape. So landscape view is the default view for FamilySearch. It's a more comprehensive look. You can see everybody better. You can see people's pictures, and you can expand it pretty far and get a good look at the tree as a whole. You can see all the important information you need, like the dates, marriage. It includes marriage information, including multiple spouses and other children. So these little arrows right here will list all the children that a couple has. And if it's by their picture, it will list alternate spouses that you can toggle between. So that is useful if you want to see your family tree in a more comprehensive way. You can also see some of the research hints that they give you, such as sources, record hints, or temple work that's in progress or needs to be done. But overall, it's a really intuitive and what you think of when you picture your family tree. Portrait is an alternative way to see that. It's exactly what it says. It's the best way to see people's pictures, but it doesn't include marriage information or alternate children. But it is a very pretty view of a family tree. Descendancy is not the most useful when it comes to research, but it is a fun way to see who is descended from your ancestor. It's a good way to see cousins. It does show some of the research hints on the side here. You can see this one as a data problem that you can fix. You can expand it back and see another ancestor and who's descended from them. But that one's mostly for fun. It's not very helpful with researching. Now, the one that's most helpful for research and knowing where to start and which ancestor to try and learn more about is this fan chart. There's multiple views in the fan chart. Family lines is the default view where you can just see the fan chart as a whole, and you can toggle between generations here, but I like to expand it as far out as it can so you get a better view of the gaps in your tree and what research needs to be done. So I like to choose somebody who has missing branches. So you would probably start, if you're trying to find more names, with this guy right here, John McClave Sr., because he's the closest to us in time without any parents listed for him. So that's a great place to start. Birth country is just for fun. You can kind of get a visual of where your ancestors are from. Like this branch, the McCleaves are from Ireland. This branch is from England or the United Kingdom. Republic of Vermont, I've never heard of, but that's pretty cool. You can get a good visual of where your family is from, but that's mostly just for fun. Sources is a great place to start to know where there needs to be a little more research. The darker the color, the more sources attached, and generally you're going to have the best sources between the years of 1800 and 1950 or so, at least for the United States, especially. The farther back you go, the less sources you're going to be able to find, and also the more recent in time, the less sources you're going to be able to find just because of privacy laws. But the lighter the color, that means more sources are needed. So if I'm trying to pick an ancestor to research, I probably won't choose somebody who already has over 10 sources attached to them, but maybe somebody who has only 1 to 4 or even 0. And the more sources you have, the more solid your research. So it's a great place to know, it's a great place to look to know who needs a little more attention. Stories is a great way to see which of your ancestors was a prominent pioneer, or even if they were famous. You'll probably have more stories for people who live closer in time to you. It's just based on what memories people have attached. Photos is similar. You're going to have more photos of people who are closer to you in time. You won't have any photographs of people before the 1840s, really. You might have photographs of documents or even illustrations or portraits. So it's still worth looking if you want to see a visual of, or if you want to see like, oh, I know I have pictures of my ancestors, who haven't I attached those to? So that's a good place to look. Research helps. It's probably the most useful, where you can see an overview of what FamilySearch says needs attention. These red ones are important to clear before you try and do any temple work if you're a member of the church. Indicates that there's a problem. Usually it's something to do with the standardization of dates and places. Sometimes there's a problem like the daughter's birthday is before the wife could have children, or the mom could have children, or she was too old to have children, or they are completely, or there might be a duplicate. The purple indicates a research suggestion. Some of those can be like, there might be a missing child. You might want to look and see if you can find another birth certificate, or this person might have another spouse. And so those aren't always accurate, or the research suggestions might suggest you find something that isn't there, but it is a great place to start, and it will give you some questions and like things to pay attention to that can help you start with your research. And then record hints is just like that. On that home page, they've taken the people in your family tree and suggested records that they think your ancestor might be in. And so those are great places to start, and to at least review those records and attach them or dismiss them. And then ordinances is useful when you're a member of the church and you want to know who has temple work available in your family tree and who needs more information to get that temple work finished, or who has temple work that is in progress. You can also view that under the temple tab. Now let's view a little more in depth on the profile of each of your ancestors, and that can be found under person, or you can click on somebody's name and it will take you straight to it. So on each person's profile, they have the portrait that you choose, if there is something to choose from, the name, the date of birth and date of death range, and then this ID number right here. And this ID number is actually really important for fixing some of the problems that might be in your family tree. So it's important to note where that is. You can also see that on the tree in the little pop-up. And if you click on the number, you can copy it. So you don't have to memorize it or worry about trying to copy it. They've made it really easy for you. Over here on the right, you have the view tree option. So it'll make this person on the profile the focus person on the tree. If you do that, you can press watch, where you'll be notified of updates to the person. So if anybody changes, if you want to pay attention to an ancestor and see what changes people make to them, that's a nice tool. And you can find those under lists right here, all of the people that you're watching. And it'll tell you, here are all the people you've decided to watch, and here are all the changes that people have made to those people. And it'll even tell you the changes that you yourself have made. You can also view your relationship. Right next to that watch button, and it will just pop up this little image. And you can see how you're related to this person. At the top here, you have all these different tabs. You can see that this ancestor has 24 sources, which is a lot, 1 collaboration, and 65 memories, which is, this person has been well attended to. You can add a life sketch if you want. It's a good place to put a little biography if you have it or want to create it. This section right here, the vital section, will tell you all the birth and death information for a person. Next to the information, you can see the sources. And that means, so this piece of information has 14 sources attached to it. So that means he's been named as James Claridge or James Ellsworth in 14 sources, and they've cited those as a source for that information. So the more sources, the better. You can see baptism and burial information. You're typically not supposed to put baptism information for people who are members of the Latter-day Saint Church or Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This particular piece of information doesn't make sense to me because he was born a member of the church, and so he probably was not baptized on April 16th, 1908, because we don't do infant baptism, so that's something to pay attention to, and there's only one source attached, so somebody added that information, and that might be something I want to look at. Other information includes alternate names. You can do detail view, which you can see who put that information and why they put that there. You can add residences, baptisms for other churches, immigration, mission information, military information. It has alternate names like nicknames. You can add information about religious affiliation. You can customize it to whatever you want. You can say, you can put a note that these people did not have any children. You can put a note of physical description or race, so that's useful. Family members, you can view a person's spouse and children, and then parents and siblings. If you click on the person's profile, you can edit the portrait. And adjust it. Or you can replace it with a different photo. This person has a lot of photos, so I can choose any one of these that I would want. If you go to the timeline, it's just an easy way to see all the major events in somebody's life. And also some of the major events in historical or in the time that they lived. So it'll include the random things that were important during the time. You can choose to toggle some of those things. I don't want to see the historical events, or I don't want to see things about his children or parents, and I just want to see him. Sources is where you can see all of the sources that have been attached to your ancestor. And you can review them. You can see them if you click on it. You can see who attached it and other records that your ancestor might be in. Collaboration is kind of an old feature where you can add notes and discuss with other researchers things about your ancestors. So this is an obituary that was attached as a note in 2013. So I can copy and paste that and put it in his life sketch or in his memories. If you go to memories, it separates it by photos and documents. So he's got a lot of photos, and you can see more, a lot of documents. You can see more in the extra stories, and then audio if you have anybody who, if you do any memories on the FamilySearch Memories app, any interviews, things like that, that will automatically upload there. And the FamilySearch Memories app is really useful for that. Then ordinances, you can see what ordinances were done and when in which temple. So he didn't all of his ordinances in his own life, but they still have that information. So it said he was baptized 1916. He got his initiatory and endowments in 1927 and was sealed in 1933 when he got married. So that's good information to have. Now, if you go back to the details page, this right side is actually really useful. It will show all of the research hints. You can even go to show all and see any of the past hints that people have maybe dismissed. So nobody's dismissed any hints for this person, and they've all been taken care of. So FamilySearch isn't finding any sources that they think that your ancestor is in. They're not finding any problems with your tree, so that's always a good thing. If you go to latest changes, you can see what people have been doing on the account. You can see which source was attached by this person. You can see past duplicates that have been merged and other changes. Oops, computer's feeling kind of slow. There we go. And you can show all, and you can see the entire history of this person's profile. With the tools, you can edit the labels. And labels are just, they're usually automatically attached. But there are several different categories, like if your ancestor crossed the plains, or if they were in the Civil War, or if they were a first lady, things like that. It will attach that to their profile, and it will show up at the top, right over here, different labels that they may have. So if you think that your ancestor should have a label and they don't, you can add them there, but those are just for fun. Possible duplicates is a really important place to go if you want to get your temple work done. It's always important to check and make sure that your ancestor does not have a duplicate. Sometimes the algorithm of FamilySearch will not pick up that somebody has a duplicate, and it's really obvious. So let's say that if I look down here in his family tree and there was another baby boy who was entered right here in between, it said James Ellsworth, born in 1908, but there's no death information. There's no other sources. That happens all the time, and sometimes it won't catch it in the duplicates, but I know that it is a duplicate, that somehow it got added, and that's my ancestor, but I want to make sure that that extra temple work isn't done. You can press this merge by ID button, and you can copy and paste that FamilySearch ID number right there, and you can continue to merge and get rid of those unnecessary people in the family tree. Just make sure that when you are merging people that you are very careful, that you don't just merge people because they have similar names, or without actually double checking to make sure that the people are actually duplicated, because it's fairly difficult to undo a merge, and it's always easier to do one. So if you're just not sure, you can make your best guess, but if there's any real doubt, just hold off and do a little more research and make sure that there isn't that they are duplicated. It's not even too uncommon for multiple siblings in a family to have the same first name. It was pretty common if an older child died that they might give a younger child the same first name, especially if it's a family name and they're trying to honor someone. So just because they have the similar name doesn't mean that they need to be merged, but it is always a good idea to keep an eye out for that. Now, if somebody is messing around on your tree or putting things that are inappropriate and you want to report that, you can always report that here. I've never had to use that. People are always pretty civil on here. I've never really had any use for that, but that's where it is if you need to do that. You can also print this person's family tree in multiple ways, and you can print what's called a family group sheet with all the sources. I only use that for my professional reports, but it can be useful if you're trying to compile a genealogy. Now this section right here, the search records, is really, really useful if you're trying to do family history research, because what it will do is it'll take all this information on the person's profile page and it will search the records that they have in each of these websites with that information, and you don't have to type it out. It'll just take it and it'll search it for you. So in the next lesson, we'll talk about how to sign up for all of these, the Ancestry, Find My Past, My Heritage, and Genealogy, if you are a member of the church. But for now, we'll just show you how it works with the family search function. So if you just click this little family search button, it'll pull up a new tab, and it'll take all of that information right here, the birth, the death, the spouse, and it will search all of their records, and it will say, these are all the records that we think your ancestor is in based on that information on their profile. Now, sometimes you'll have to toggle it because it's a little too specific if you're looking for a specific type of record. But this is what they come up with. And like, as you can see, there's 1,700 results just with that specific information. So you can see if it's already attached based on this little family tree symbol right here to the right of each source. It might be attached to your ancestor, it might not. So it's a good idea to check sometimes. And then if it's got this little camera, it means that you can view an image. And it's always a good idea to view an image of a record. So we're going to go over records a little bit more in the next lesson. But this is a great way to get started if you have an ancestor that you know needs some sources. Just go to their profile and then just click this little search records on FamilySearch. If there are no research hints, and it will pull up everything that they think your ancestor might be in. And you can start to sort through those and decide if they are or aren't and attach them. You can also filter by collection. Say, I just want to see California birth records or this particular census, so that's useful. But we'll go over that a little bit more next time. You can also search for a particular person if you're trying to do that under the family tree and the find feature. You can find by ID if you have that ID number copied, or you can search by information. This is sometimes fun to do if you're looking for a specific like famous person or even a pioneer, just to see their family trees. Now let's go over the memories real quick. Memories, this is where they will compile all the memories that you've added and that other people have added for your ancestors. It's pretty straightforward. You can view your memories. You can see the ones that you have uploaded that haven't been tagged to your ancestors. You can save your favorite memories and see where they are. This FamilySearch Memories app is really useful, especially I've used it plenty of times at like the dinner table when my grandpa will just suddenly start talking about a family history story, and I'll just quick pull out my phone and press the little record button, and it will automatically upload to FamilySearch Memories. And I can see those there in the gallery. And then I can tag them to my ancestor, and it's automatically uploaded. I don't have to do anything but press that little record button and then just tag my ancestor. You can sort by photo. Here's all the ones that I've recorded recently. You can sort by documents, stories, etc. You can go by people, and I'll show you all the people in your tree, direct or indirect relatives. And it will sort through them, and I'll show you all the people that have memories. If you want to just like find somebody in your family tree and just talk about them for a family home evening lesson, this is a great place to go. That's pretty much it with memories. Now on indexing you used to have to download a program, and now luckily we don't have to do that anymore, and it's all here on the web indexing, just on the FamilySearch website. It's really easy. You can just go to the indexing and press find a project, and it will come up with all these different projects for you. You can sort by difficulty and language. You can see your statistics on how well you've been indexing. I have not been indexing very well. You can, yeah, here you can sort by country or area. I suggest choosing a language that you speak. You can sort by project if you want to do a specific project. Say I'm interested in something that's a little more old-fashioned. You can go ahead and try and find something that's in a different language, stuff like that. If you're having trouble with indexing, you can go to help resources and you can see there's some tours, there's some help articles, there's some basic guidelines, and then there's also language and handwriting help. So if you can't read it very well, this is a great place to go, because sometimes that old handwriting can be pretty tricky, but they have nice little guides and images to help you figure that out. Activities is also really fun if you're trying to get people interested in family history. This is new. This is a new tab, but this is a great place to do family home evening activities as well. You can see where you came from. You can learn all about yourself and what happened in your birth year. You can compare your face to other ancestors. That one's a really fun one. Take an old picture of me. Look at the comparison. And it'll compare your two ancestors, and apparently I look 63%. I look very similar to this guy right here. So that's sometimes really fun to do. You can go back to you can tell your own stories. You can see pictures from some of the places your ancestors may have been and add your face to them. And it has all sorts of interactive activities for you where you can see more about your family history and kind of get more interested and make those connection experiences. So those are fun if you're trying to take a more relaxed and interactive approach to your family history. This is especially fun for teens and young children and anybody who you're interested in sharing FamilySearch with. Now, if you are a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the temple icon, this temple tab will come up for you if your membership ID is attached to your profile. So here you can see all of the people you've reserved to take their names to the temple, all the people that you've printed or not printed. You can share them with the temple system by clicking one of the check marks and just deciding to share with the temple. You can always unshare with the temple as well by doing that. And then this ordinances ready icon right here can help you sort through which ordinances are ready in your family tree and which specific ordinances that you might want to do. So let's say you want to do baptisms and confirmations at the temple. You can click that and it will pull up 4 names if they are in their tree that you can do baptisms and confirmations for. So ordinances ready is a great place, especially if you're running low on time and you really want to do a family name for the temple. Then go ahead and jump on to ordinances ready, and you'll be able to print that from your own family tree, which is really nice because the temple system has stopped doing what they call extractions and are now relying on previous extractions and also people sharing their family names with the temple system and bringing their own names. So it's a great habit to get in, to just go on and try and find those names for yourself really quickly. And they've made it really easy for you. So that's all we're going to cover for today. I hope that we will see you all next week. We're going to cover more about those search functions and how to find those records for your ancestors and attach them next week, and also how to sign up for those affiliate links. So Hope to see you next week, and we hope you have a great day.